Hello, and welcome to another Rangaroos unit of the Reek. And today we are taking a look at the BM-30 Smerch rocket artillery piece for the Soviet Union. So the Smerch is a rocket artillery piece developed in the 80s in the Soviet Union. And pretty much it has 12 barrels, each of them a whopping 300mm in diameter, and it can shoot a variety of rockets from high explosive to cluster munitions, and they pretty much only saw service so far in the Ukrainian Crimea War and in Syria. But I really want to spend this history part talking about cluster munitions, seeing that this unit is all about cluster munitions in-game. So cluster munitions, to put it simply, is like the experimental Merv Fat Man from Fallout 3. It's one bomb that drops a bunch of smaller bombs within the big bomb. And because of that, it can cover a large area and deal a lot of damage. Now, unlike in War Game, where they're only really used to deal with tanks, in real life they could be fitted for incendiary purposes, anti-personnel purposes, and some more sinister purposes such as chemical weapons, which thankfully haven't been used, and mine laying. Now, the mine laying capability of cluster munitions is a rather big issue in the international crowd, due to the fact, it sets up an easy minefield within a short period of time because you just have to shoot it instead of placing them down by hand, like back in World War II. But a lot of these mines are meant to blow up from 4 hours to 2 days after being set. But like raw munitions, they tend to be duds, and these duds don't explode. And we're not talking just about 10 to 100, we're talking hundreds to thousands of these munitions being dropped over areas, so you have lots of unexploded ordnance that is still sitting there ready to be picked up or kill an unsuspecting civilian. And this has been so much of an issue, there's been a cluster munitions treaty signed in Dublin in 2008, where a lot of countries pretty much signed saying, hey, we're not going to be using cluster munitions or landmines whatsoever, because it's just not right. The funny thing, is that the countries that do use cluster munitions the most, such as America, Russia, and China, haven't signed the treaty. But, well, that's a story for another time. So the BM-30 Smerch in game is a 140-point rocket artillery piece, and it has technically Trove weapons available to it. And that's 1 to Trove weapons, being that 9 M55K cluster munitions with Trove shots available to it, with a range of ground of 52,000 meters, a dispersion rate of pretty much 4.5 kilometers, AP power of 8, and a rate of fire of 3 rounds a minute. But that's not 3 rounds as in 3 shots. It's usually, it's pretty much lying, because you can only shoot maybe 1 or 2 barrages within a minute due to aiming and reload times. But pretty much it's a rather big area of effect, and because it's cluster, you don't have to be all that accurate. And with 8 AP, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you're going to be hitting the top armor of these tanks, and the most top armor a tank can have is 4. So you are going to be doing a lot of damage to pretty much anything that's on wheels or vehicle. And if we pop down to its miscellaneous stats, it has a whopping run frontal armor to definitely save you from all those risky combat encounters, and no armor on the side, back and top whatsoever. 10 HP, big size and bad optics, an off-road speed of 60 km an hour, but can go 150 on the road, has a whopping autonomy of 850 km, allowing you to run to the enemy FOB, refuel there, and then come back to base. It's year restricted to 89, and it is type restricted to support decks. In battle, the Smerch is a rather scary piece of equipment to go up against. Like the Lance, it's a very expensive super duper artillery piece that can do a lot of killing. But unlike the Lance, the Smerch can cover a rather large area because of cluster munitions and rocket artillery. And those cluster munitions are going to absolutely wreck tanks. Even those M1A2 Abrams will go down to 2 to 3 shots from one of these rocket artillery pieces. Now, there are a few downsides, of course. The main one being is that the minimum engagement range for the Smerch is 7 to 8 kilometers. So you can't have this close to the front lines, or you're going to have to keep it back in your base. And it's also going to give the enemy time to react to when you fire your missile barrage. But once you hit the enemy, they are definitely going to feel it. You cannot kill infantry with its rocket artillery piece because it is cluster munitions. But yeah, the Smerch, it's great for sniping enemy CVs, because if you know it's in a forest somewhere, you just kind of aim at the forest, you shoot, and if it's not an infantry CV, but like a jeep, you're going to kill it easy peasy like. And it kills indiscriminately and really bloody effectively. We all use Smerch, we've all been on the horrible receiving end of the Smerch, and it's a very scary piece to go up against. And if you do go up against it, your best way to kill it is to A, hopefully counter battery it if your enemy is silly and doesn't move, or B, pray to God that you can flank around with a helicopter, snipe it, because these things are definitely a high priority target that you want to deal with. But I'm going to stop rambling on that. This has been another Rangrouge Unit of the Week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as usual, please just take it easy.